Today I want to try and make an entire costume in one day. Let's do this. G'day everyone, it's Kiralee here and I'm in my pajamas, so that must mean one thing. This is a sewing video, and yes, indeed it is, and I am in the perfect attire for that which I'm going to make today, which is a Minnie Mouse inspired dress, which is based off this pattern, which I believe after a fair amount of research of what I could find with a very generic label, that it is from the 1940s/1950s. So I'm not the only one doing this. There's actually a few of us in the Cosplay community who are actually going to be making like a one-day costume or one-day part of a costume and putting a video out. So I will definitely link those people below and their videos when they come out. Also, the fabrics that I'll be using today is this wonderful polka dot red and white fabric, because you can't be Minnie Mouse without a polka dot of red and white. And I've also got this plain red cotton, so they go together quite well. It's slightly different in color, but I kind of like it that it's slightly different. It just makes for a little bit of contrast. As for the pattern, it is called Fashion Cut Pattern 6563, and I think it was £2.09. So that gives an indication we changed over to the dollar system yonks ago. It is a size 36-inch bust, which means that I need to let out the waist a little bit because I am the right size in the bust, but I don't have the same size waist as what the pattern suggests, but that's okay. It's only a little minor tweak. The other tweaks I'll be making to this pattern is the fact I will be removing the ruffle. As lovely as it is, I would like to be able to wear this out in public, and I just don't think that's really me. I will be changing the neckline because of this, and I will be adding puff sleeves. So a few little changes here and there, but I'm pretty excited for it. I want to also create matching leg ears as a bit of a headpiece. So join me on this whirlwind adventure. And just as a side note, I think that some of the audio will be directly through the camera, and there'll be some that will be a lovely voiceover. 'Cause that's how I edit my videos. Enjoy!
G'day and welcome to the voiceover. I wanted to quickly show you a bit more of a close-up of the pattern. As you can see, the pattern pieces are unmarked and all the darts and grain lines are denoted with holes in the paper. All the instructions, measurements and terminology were printed on the back and the front of this piece of paper with some very clear diagrams. I was really impressed.
Alright, so all the pieces are now pinned down. I still have the sleeve cuff and the facing to do, and also the middle section, but the middle section and the cuffs are actually going to be made out of plain red fabric, so that will come next. And the facings I'll do after I change the neckline of the bodice piece. So let's get cutting.
Just a quick note here. There is something super satisfying about cutting out vintage patterns. It's just kind of like making history come to life. Also, you may notice the addition of a puff sleeve closest to the camera. I did this using my sleeve block and followed one of the options from my how to make a puff sleeve tutorial. Shameless plug. And then it was on to the red waistband. For some reason, the back piece was seriously messed up and I had to tape it back together.
And this sea of polka dots is all the pieces cut out. Very happy how that came together. I don't have a lot of the polka dot material left, so I think I just had enough. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and start construction on the bodice.
After marking all the dart and pleat placements with chalk, I pinned them into place on the front and the back pieces. And then I sewed them. I also sewed the waistband pieces together. After sewing all the darts and pleats in, I decided, hey, this is going to get some definite wear, so maybe I should overlock the edges. At which point, Lady Rebecca Fashions, whilst on a CosTuber Zoom chat, discovered and shared with the group that overlocking was developed in the 1870s, but it is hard to find examples of extant clothing predating the 1930s. However, she did show us this gorgeous outfit from 1909 that had overlocked edges at the sleeves. So now you know, overlocking is period accurate from the late-ish Victorian era. The more you know. Once the relevant edges were overlocked, I pinned the shoulder seams together and sewed. Then I pinned the facing in. It is so much easier to pin the facing before you sew up the side seams because that way you can work on it flat. And of course, I then sewed it. And then I understitched the facing down. Not shown here is the aggressive pressing I did with the iron and the few little tack stitches that I did to keep it in place. And then I pinned and sewed up the side seams. And after that, I pinned and sewed the red waistband onto the bodice.
Okay, so I'm going to stop for lunch now, but this is the progress of the bodice from this morning. It's going well. So after lunch, I think I'm going to finish off the sleeves and add those in, and then I will add in the skirt and the zipper, and that should then allow me enough time to make the ears as well. So yeah, it's coming along really, really quickly and very nicely. I'm very happy.
Lunch was yum, and now I moved right along to the sleeves. I cut out strips on the bias in the plain red and then folded it in on itself to hide the raw edges. Then I pinned that along the bottom of the sleeves. I then sewed that down, sewed up the sleeve, and then top stitched the seams open, tucking the ends in on itself. Then it was just time to add the sleeves to the bodice, and it was right about here that I realised just how big those arm size were, which is great for comfort reasons, but alas, the sleeves turned out to be a lot less puffy than I had anticipated and more like straight sleeves. But hey, I'm not mad. I think it works just as nicely. Potentially even better. And here is how it's looking so far. Aw, so fancy! Moving on to the skirt now, this was pretty straightforward. It consisted of 4 panels, 2 front panels and 2 back panels. I sewed the front panels together first and repeated with the back, leaving an opening for the zipper. Then I sewed the front to the back, and that is basically the skirt. Then it's time to make it a dress. So the bodice and the skirt were pinned and sewed together. I am not going to lie, the center point, the point in the center, it sucks. I hated it so much and I unpicked it 3 times and re-sewed it 3 times. And I'm still not happy with it, but you know what? It's done. Sometimes done is better than perfect.
Hello! So what happened was my battery died and I decided to charge it and keep on working on it. So I have put a zipper in the back and I have put 2 buttons up at the top as well. Hey yo, are you helping? Are you helping? Are you? Okay. So the next thing that I've got to do is I've got to shorten it about 7 inches because it's a little hitting me at a weird place. So that's what I'm going to do next, and then once that's done, I am going to maybe add a bow, and I need to do the ears. So it's just coming up to 5 o'clock now. That's why these girls are telling me that I need to feed them, but that's what we're going to do next. So yes, better feed them first.
Time to cut 7 inches off. I would be lying if I said that I didn't doubt myself more than once if I was doing the right thing here. It just seemed like I was discarding so much fabric. However, the process was very easy with this clear ruler, some chalk, and some sharp fabric scissors. Then I decided to do a very narrow hem, so I thought a rolled hem would be the best. A sweet tip I once learnt was that when you are doing a rolled hem with an A-line or a circle skirt, and basically anything in between like this one, do a quick straight stitch of stitching near the edge. This is meant to act like a little bit of a support thread, so the rolled hem is easier to do and does the hem evenly around. I've used this tactic a few times now, and honestly it's worked like a charm, especially when you get to the part of the fabric that it's on the bias.
So here we have everything that I'm going to need for the base of the Minnie Mouse ears. I've got my lycra, I've got my headband, I've got some hot glue, I've got my foam, which will be the core of the ears, and then I've also got 2 circles that I'm going to be using to basically have 2 little templates happening. So the tea strainer is a bit bigger than the can of spray. So what we're going to do is I'm going to map that out and get cracking on that.
Fun fact, I didn't end up using the spray can circle, as my first attempt to this pattern turned out horribly. So it was just the tea strainer that I required, and I added in a little extra curve there for the headband. Once I had the pattern, I marked it out on the foam and cut it out using my blade from Cos Tools. It was just a little bit jagged when I took it out, my own fault, so off camera I used my Dremel to smooth out the edges. And here I am cutting out the black lycra material, leaving some extra material for the seam allowance. And I sewed 2 lots of 2 pieces together to create little pouches for the foam to be inserted into them. And then you can guess I hot glued them to the headband. Now with the ears complete, it was time to add a quick little bow to match the dress.
Alright, so the ears are nearly at completion. I just need to put the bow onto the ears, which is what I'm waiting for the heat gun to kind of heat up. There's a whole lot of hot glue. It's very, very visible. I might go in with a black felt tip pen or something and colour that in. But, you know, it will be covered by hair, so not too upset. But yeah, finish off this bow, and then I've got 4 bows that I plan on doing for the dress, and then it is done. Exciting.
And here is the process of the bows. It consists of rectangles of fabric. I know, crazy, right? First you cut out the rectangle, then you sew down the long side, then you hand sew the middle pleats, and then you add the midsection. Bam, you've now got a bow. I attached all the bows just by hand. If you look very closely in this clip, you can see that I'm beginning to shake, because by this time I was getting tired and my steam was well and truly running out. But I was so close. The last bow that I had to add on was the back bow. This had some tails on it just to make it that little bit extra. And hey, look, it was another rectangle. How about that? With a 45-degree angle at the bottom. These were then sewn directly onto the back of the bow after being pleated themselves. It's like the steps keep on repeating themselves. How about that? It's crazy. Bows are crazy. And finally, one of the sides of the back bow was tacked on, whilst the other side was secured with a press stud.
It's done. It took all day, but it's done, and I really, really like it. So obviously I'm not wearing it right now. I've just tried it on and really, really happy with how it all turned out. But I'm going to insert some footage now of me actually wearing it. I definitely took some liberties with the pattern and changed things around. Like I definitely made it shorter than what it would have been in the 40s or 50s, but I'm really happy that I did that because I'm happy with the overall look of it at the end of it. This is something that I'm definitely going to wear, hopefully to Disneyland. Otherwise I would wear it to a convention, or if I was going to the movies to see the latest Disney movie. Probably the thing that took the most amount of time at the very end were the bows. This was kind of an additional thing that I thought would be nice to add on, and just to add a little bit more of that block color red that was in the waistband and the sleeve cuff, and I think that they are absolutely adorable and really just make the costume. Overall, I am so super stoked with how this turned out. It turned out much better than my wildest dreams, and to be honest, I didn't have a very clear vision about this going in, so the fact that it just kind of evolved over the day was really quite exciting for me. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you had a lovely time. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos and tutorials and all of the good stuff. And don't forget to check out the other costubers who are doing a similar sort of project in a day sort of situation. Anyway, I'm super tired and I'm going to bed. See you later. Bye.